Welcome back, it's me, Lou. I'm here for another action figure unboxing and review. Today from Mattel in their WWE main event series, we are featuring Series 154, the phenomenal one, AJ Styles. Alright, so this captures AJ in his much more modern look, where he's all buffed and swole. AJ is like a beast nowadays, it's crazy. I'm a huge fan of AJ Styles. And this goes all the way back, back when he was working TNA Wrestling. I was very fortunate because in addition to working TNA, AJ Styles at the time also worked NWA Midwest. And they used to host some shows at one of the local rec centers. This was like a lifetime ago. So for me, it was awesome seeing AJ perform when he was much younger. At the height of his physicality, back then, I mean, he's still amazing now, but, seeing him like over 20 years ago, he was just phenomenal, no pun intended. Great looking action figure, it really does capture modern AJ. This figure might be a little bit dated because I want to say AJ nowadays has a slightly longer and thicker beard, but this is a great figure nonetheless. Alright, so AJ is listed as a technician. I think, way back when, he could also be listed as a high flyer. His signature move is the Styles Clash. Other figures in this assortment include Randy, Punk, Jake the Snake, and Kiana James. Alright, so we have the phenomenal one, AJ Styles, on hand. Great looking action figure. It really does capture modern AJ. He's always looking kind of grumpy. You can see that in his face right here. He looks very stern. And this figure uses the updated body. He's a lot thicker. Has a lot more muscle mass on him. Today is May 11th, 2025. And then the other night, he was on TV, and he was looking so friggin' jacked. It's crazy how much larger he is as opposed to when he was younger. The gear is nice also. It has the Japanese kanji on the right knee pad. You have phenomenal one on the boot. And then you have his logo on the one leg. It's not the most colorful of his ring gear, but it's definitely the much more modern one. And he does have the gloves too, with the P1 on them. And I'm kind of curious if you could get him in that pose. Maybe not. More so, you might be able to if this was an elite figure, but I don't think you could cross his. Yeah, he's too thick here. His hands won't cross over, so you're not gonna be able to make that pose he does with his hands, which is unfortunate. But for the price point, you're looking at a figure that's, I think, maybe like anywhere between $10 to $11. And it's actually a nice deal, especially if you have little ones. These are great durable action figures. And if you're kind of more so a casual collector than a serious one, the main event Showdown series, they're a lot cheaper than the elite figures. And they're just nice, basic representations of your favorite superstars. AJ stands in at about 7 inches for a size comparison next to some other action figure lines. What do I got on hand here? Alright, we have old Mattel Movie Masters Batman. You can see how much larger AJ is. The Mattel figures, I think they're kind of like a 6 3/4 scale action figure. So they're slightly larger than a Marvel Legends, which we have right here. But they're also smaller than 1/10 scale McFarlane figure, much like their Mortal Kombat and DC figures. So these are 7-inch scale figures, where these are, I think, 6 3/4. And then here's an old Mezco Mortal Kombat 6-inch scale Raiden. Yeah, so overall, great figure. If you're a fan of AJ, the phenomenal one, it's worth a purchase. Again, it's not the most detailed or articulated AJ figure out there, but If you really want a modern AJ that's, a lot more swolled out with more muscle mass, this is a nice figure to have. Again, it would have been nice if you could actually get him in that pose with his hands, but I don't think you could get the arms that close together. It seems like you would need a butterfly joint just so you could kind of fold them in at the chest. Alright, so with that being said, let's wrap this one up. Once again, my name is Lou. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you are a returning viewer or subscriber, thank you so much for your continued support. I greatly appreciate it. So until next video, be safe, take care of yourself, buy lots of toys, and most importantly, be happy. And I'll see you at the next one. Alright, later.